this is Ari with Modern Telecom. I'm going to show you how to configure the W611W cordless phone by Fanville. When it's first turned on, you'll be prompted for language, so always just hit this middle button is the OK button. So what it says here on the screen in the middle, that's what this middle button will do. Now when it's first turned on, it will not have an internet connection because it's a Wi-Fi phone. So here it says OK, so we'll click this button. Now it's brought us to the wireless configuration. So we have to turn on the Wi-Fi. So you push the right button here. It says enabled now. Again, I'm going to push this OK button in the middle. And now, moving down here, we're going to press, actually we're going to push scan. That's going to scan networks. Go down here and it says it's found 5 available networks. So I'll go in and my network is the one right at the top here. So I'm going to hit enter on, you could scroll up and down until you find your network and then push the OK button in the middle, which is to link the network. And then you get prompted for the password. Here's where the fun starts because you have to use what they call a T9 text input, which is where you, if you want to get letters, you have to select the letter mode, and then each number represents 3 letters, and it's kind of in order. So if I push the 2 button twice, then that signifies letter B, since that's the second letter. So to give you an example here, the first part of my password is just some numbers. So up here it says I'm in numbers mode. So whatever I type is going to be the numbers part of my password. So let's suppose my password's 1234. I just need to type that now. And then for portions that are letters, we have to press the number sign down here at the bottom. And when I push that, this, where it says 1, 2, 3, is going to change to letters. There we go. See how that changed to an ABC? So now that means whatever I push on the keypad is going to be in letters mode. So if my password has an A in it, I just need to push the number 2 key once because A is the first letter on that key. So there, and it quickly showed that there's an A. So if I have to do another one, I just wait until it's back to the flashing cursor, I can do it again. If I have to do a letter that, let's say it's the 3rd letter on the key. So for example here, F is over here, that's the 3rd letter, so D-E-F, see that? So I would have to now push this 3 times to get to the F key. So watch, D-E-F. And then when I release, that's what inputted an F into the screen. Once I've got the password the way I need it, then I'm going to push this enter button in the middle. And it's going to think about it for a minute. Okay, once you see the green check mark, then it means it's made a successful connection. So now we can actually just press the back button. And we've got the symbol up here that the Wi-Fi is now connected. Now once the phone is set up, if the screen is in an off position, that means the phone is still working, but it's asleep. So you can just push any key. I usually just push the hang up button, and that just wakes it up so you can see what's on the screen. All right, if the phone is configured for multiple lines, then the up and down arrows will toggle through your lines. So if I push down, I'm in my cottage mode, so that's the cottage line, and if I push down again, I'm now in my regular line. So I can just toggle up and down, or just keep pushing down and it toggles through. Since there's only 2 lines, it's just going back and forth between the 2. But however many lines there are, and it shows you the extension associated with that line. And that just means that any outgoing call that you dial when it's displaying that line will reflect the caller ID information. So for example, if I now were to go ahead and dial a phone number, now up here it's reminding me which line I will be using, and I can still...
Modern Telecom. Thank you.
It dialed a little bit too quick for me there. But I wanted to show you that I can still change the line even if I started dialing. So while I'm dialing and I say, oh wait, I want to use my other line, so I can still toggle here between my cottage line and my my work line. So as you can see, it's still changing there as I'm flipping this up and down and up and down. So once I've selected the right line I want to use to make this call, now I can just, I can just push the dial button. Or if you wait, it's going to dial by itself. All right. So now when it rings, it will ring on both lines. So you do not have to select which line is to answer. That's whatever line is ringing. Then if you hit the green button when it's ringing, that's the line it's going to pick up. But suppose you didn't want one of these lines to ring. So maybe you want your personal line to ring, but not your work line. Maybe you only intend on making outbound calls on your work line. So we've programmed a do not disturb menu, and it may vary depending on the configuration, but on this particular phone, I've programmed this side button, which you can see over here. This button, which is a programmable button to do a single function. So for this customer, I programmed this side button. I'll wake up the phone here, and I'll push the side button just to stabilize the phone here. There we go. So that's entered the do not disturb menu. So I just have to scroll down and select which line I want to put on do not disturb. So I have a choice between line 1 or line 2. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you the name of the line, but I know that line 1 is my work line and line 2 is my personal line. So I could say, okay, line 1, state will be enabled. I'm just using the left and right. So now I've made line 1 state is enabled for do not disturb, and I'm going to push the middle button. It says config OK. And so now my work line will be on do not disturb. It's got a little stop sign up there, which means I won't receive calls on this line. They'll go directly to voicemail. But the other line will still receive calls. So I can then go back into this menu again, and I can check to see which line is on do not disturb. So right now it says line 1 is enabled for do not disturb. Line 2 is disabled for do not disturb. So I can, I don't have a line 3, but I can move back and forth now to check the status of line 1 or line 2. And maybe I'll go back here and I'll disable the do not disturb for line 1. Enter. All right, and now that little stop sign logo is gone, and I'll be able to receive calls on both lines. Next thing is the company directory, so that you can remember people's extensions. You can push the directory button. There are 2 directories. This key right here brings you into a custom phone directory. And I don't really find a value in saving contacts directly in the phone because it's not easy to do that. But the company directory, which is this button right here, is pretty useful because it'll download that from our server. And now you can just even dial by name, so you can select, for example, if I want to get to Chris there. So let's say I push C, and now it brings up, Chris. I can go down and I can click on his name, and it'll dial him. So that I find is a little bit more useful. Next thing is to check your voicemail. So if you've got voicemails on here, go into the menu, and see, one of these options is for mail. There we go, messages. So it's this middle icon right here is for messages. And let's see if I can get the phone to be better on the camera. There we go. Okay. So when I go into messages and voice messages, so just hit enter again, it gives you a summary of how many messages you have on each line. So in this case, I got 0 voicemails on that line and 0 voicemails on that line. So there's not much need to check anything. But here's another phone, just a different model, not just for another example. And here we can see I've got this line right here has 0 messages, but up here I've got 3 out of 3, which means 3 unread messages and 3 saved messages. So now I can just hit the play button.
You have 3 new messages. Message number 1.
And it'll start playing the messages for you. All right, so that's how you work the voicemail on here. Lastly, I'll just show you where a couple of the other more advanced features are in the menu. So when you go into menu, if you do need to change the Wi-Fi access point that you're using, then choose the the blue Wi-Fi symbol. You'll go into there. You're back into this mode where you can check for other available networks or scan networks. So we're back to the kind of the first video I showed you where you can change your Wi-Fi. I'll go back. Next thing you might want to do is pair a Bluetooth headset so that this thing can just kind of sit in your pocket and you'll use your AirPods or whatever you're more comfortable with for long conversations. So go down into here and scroll down to Bluetooth. So that was under the basic settings and then Bluetooth. And it's basically the same process as doing the Wi-Fi at this point, where you enable the Bluetooth and then you'll find Bluetooth devices to link to. It'll scan them. All right, and this option over here, that's the red phone. This one's the call log. So if you go into there, you'll get local call log, and you can see the inbound calls, outbound calls, missed calls. So all the call lists will be there. And lastly, when you're just back at the home menu here. There are 2 buttons here on the side. This is your volume, so pushing this one is just your volume up. That'll be the ringer. And if you're on a call, so I'll just push this one for speakerphone. Okay, so now we're on speakerphone, and if I do this volume, that will make the speakerphone louder. That will make the speakerphone quieter. So when you're not on a call, that will be your ringer volume, and when you're on a call, this will be the speaker volume. And if you want to adjust the headset, the handset, or the speaker when you're holding it up to your ear, push the green talk button. So now you're actually starting to make a call, and now you can adjust the volume of that. So you've got this volume dial adjusts the volume for 3 different things. Depending on what you're doing, that will adjust the volume. All right, and if you want to put the device to sleep after you've ended a call, you just push the end button, and it puts the phone to sleep, which is just battery save mode, but it still works. All right, and one other feature is the speed dials. That is the left and right buttons here when you're on any page. We'll bring up the what they call the DSS keys, but these are custom programmable speed dial buttons, or pages of buttons, because you can keep scrolling through different pages. And these will get programmed by us on the PBX, but you can also click onto them and custom figure a speed dial option. There we go, speed dial, type a name and type a number. So if you want to add your own speed dials, you can do this yourself. But if these are being mass deployed to a company, then we will probably deploy these out. So for example, on this model here, whoops, I was tabbing the pages. Yeah, so we've got some custom buttons already here on the speed dial, and they'll change color depending, like for example, if Ari is on the phone, that'll be a red icon. It'll change to give the status of these people. So these are interactive with the PBX. You can also use your parking spots from here as well. All right. Thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions, we're here to help.